Hey everybody, welcome back into Pritch's Get Stitches. Glad you're here, glad you found us. Holly, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. Although, it's going to be a really crappy weekend.
Why is
It's
that?
going to be rainy. We're in the middle of like a storm. And a lot of times, like if it's raining or stormy on this side of the island, because that happens often since we're on the windward side, you can go to the other side and it's nice and sunny and blue skies and beautiful, but not this weekend apparently.
Oh, it's rainy everywhere.
Rainy everywhere this weekend.
Well, it looks sunny to me.
It does look sunny. I was laughing because it's dark and gray, but you could never tell because through my windows it always looks nice and sunny. So I guess I could pretend and say like, oh, it's a beautiful sunny day here in Hawaii. But it's not.
You're good. It's nice and sunny here. It's nice and sunny. Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's just like the time in Texas where you're like, okay, this is why I live here for like, the 7 days that we get where it's actually
I was going to say where you can actually go outside between 11 and 6 and not roast.
Yeah. Yeah. So this week we had we had the solar eclipse. I don't know if we're going to talk about that later, but full eclipse, total eclipse. It was pretty good. And then
it's on your hand.
That's for later.
Oh, geez. I thought you wrote on your hand or something. Okay, so sorry. Total eclipse. Looking like me over there. I have a story for later too. Okay.
Anyways, so total eclipse, and then later that night the weather changed and it got nasty and rainy and crappy, and then it was crappy the next day and it cold, and now it's nice again. So it's good.
We had it. Yeah, we had a little tiny bit of the eclipse, like a small tiny sliver right as the sun was coming up. So Nikki came over so we could go to the beach and watch it, and she made a little. We didn't have eclipse glasses, so she made a little cereal box viewer.
Oh yeah.
And you could see it was just like the tiniest little bit out of it. But for the most, and that was like for the 2 seconds we could see it, because mostly it was cloudy.
So the kids got glasses from school, and and I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't get any, so I'm like looking up how to get some or whatever, and on Amazon they wouldn't have been here in time, and so plus they were like $20 for one pair, and I'm like, eh.
I thought Mom and Dad left some there for you guys.
Oh, I'm sure they did, but who knows where they're at. So I bought some welder's glass, some welder's lens, because that's the, how the welders have, how the welders have the thing. Well, it's 14, like level 14 darkness or whatever, and it's just the same, which is what it should be. And so I just took the
good to know. I had no clue that's what that would. Yeah.
I just looked up like this, and I could see it perfect. And
that's cool.
And then I did that because it was going to be here like overnight, so it was like whatever day of the week it was. I ordered it the night before.
It was Monday.
Yeah, Monday, yeah. So Sunday I ordered it, and it got to my house at like 4 a.m. So then we used it, and then I cleaned it really nice. Really cleaned it really good.
And then you shipped it back
in, and then I returned it. Because I figured like people aren't going to use I guess people will, but like the glasses, nobody's going to use those again, right? But somebody will buy that welder's glass, so I'm not too worried.
Though I read a story on the New Yorker, so I subscribe to the New Yorker magazine because I'm a big nerd, and I read a story about where do all the returns go that Amazon has, and they don't take them back and resell them. It's like this whole thing that they do that they, a lot of them end up, when you return stuff, they go straight to the dump. And then a lot of stuff goes to like third parties who buy it and then resell it. A lot of them buy the pallet only, so you can come in and bid on a pallet. You don't know what you're getting. They don't know what they're selling you, but it's just this really interesting thing that I'm like, interesting.
I've been a little more cautious about returns, simply because I've thrown some stuff up on Amazon and sold it here recently, and I got a return, and so I refunded the lady. It was like $3 for a shirt or something like that, and I've never gotten it back. It's never come back.
Yeah, they don't give it back to you.
I have no idea. So then I'm like out the money. So like I'm out the product.
What was wrong with why did she return the shirt? She just didn't like it?
It was too small. But I'm like...
They do run... I'm wearing the...
Oh, there we go.
No crying in baseball one. But I will say it's a little bit smaller than...
I told you. I said I should get a large.
I know.
I ordered large.
No, this is a large.
Or, no. You sure?
Or did I order the medium? I don't know.
You ordered medium.
I might have ordered medium because I wanted to see how it fit.
I do have large, so I can bring them next when I come. Because if I were to make them and mail them to you, you would get them the same time they show up there.
Yeah, years to get here.
I do.
Unless you ship priority.
Well,
Yeah, I'll have to look. You'll have to look at the order and make sure.
I do have more of those. I have some more shirts and designs.
Yeah.
I'll just throw them on because I
need you to make me one.
Black.
I need you to make me one in Padres colors so I can give it to my friend Kelly here. She's a Padres fan.
Oh, okay. I do have a Padres. I think I do have Padres. I made one for Val. So, anyway, so yeah, solar eclipse was fun. I mean, it was crazy, like weird. Like we've been part of a solar eclipse before, like in McKinney.
I was gonna say, I feel like we did it before. Like we had one in like what was it, 2017? I think is when they said the last one was or something.
Yeah, but,
where was I? I was in Utah, I guess.
But I didn't. We didn't have a total here. Like,
I feel like we had one. Didn't we have one growing up though, like when we were in school? Because I feel like I remember going up on top of the.
No, I don't remember.
The
I
band.
think we've always had, like we've had solar eclipses, but I don't know that we've had the total.
Oh, we probably weren't in the. Yeah, we probably weren't in the path of totality.
Which I've never heard totality before ever until the last like week, and then everybody says it.
Dear God, the amount of
Totality.
eclipse and totality, like Jesus.
But it was pretty cool. It was like really one of the coolest experiences. Like I wasn't too like excited about it. I wasn't like, oh, solar eclipse. Yeah, like some people, like I would.
Like I can't believe people came in from all over like the freaking U.S. to like Belton and Colleen and Waco.
I think Colleen had the like longest
Dallas.
duration. We had 2 minutes and like 40 seconds of totality.
But yeah, Chad posted.
They had like 4.5 minutes or something.
Chad posted something on Facebook about, hey, any friends in the area for the eclipse? Like, let's go to dinner. And he had like, any Utah friends or whatever. He had like 5 or 6 people saying like, oh yeah, we're here for it. And I'm like, who? I don't know. I guess I'm just not a science nerd, but
yeah. I mean,
I'm also, I don't know. Like if I had to be in Dallas, okay. Would I travel somewhere to see it? No.
Yeah, I wasn't like too huge on it. Like, oh, let's do it. But then it happened and you're like, this is the coolest thing. Like to watch the sun, all of a sudden you see it like kind of like start to go away and then boom. And like it's dusk and street lights turned on, flowers. Like we have weeds in our yard because, that's my hobby. And the flowers, like, they're like open and then they started to close, like, because the sun was gone. It was really cool. Like, one of the kids had mentioned the flowers, like, oh, look, it was like totally open and now it's not. And, it was just cool. It was like eerie. And then we go inside and Jared's like, well, Lexi, I guess we gotta get ready for school, because that's what it felt like to them, was like, like getting ready to go to school. Well,
they, when we watched it last year, I don't think you watched it with us last year, the partial.
No, I was
Mom and Dad were there.
I was reffing. And so I was
on the
football field, and so people had glasses, so we watched it.
That's right. You and Jerry forgot to give you your glasses. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So I watched it in the back with Mom and Dad and the kids, and that was pretty cool because it did get dark and it got a little bit cooler.
Yeah, it was like a weird haze. It was like a weird haze last year, but this was pretty cool. So, yeah, that was fun. That was fun. The eclipse was fun. We pulled the kids out of school. We pulled the older ones out. Ava texted me immediately, 8:50 in the morning. There's nobody here. Not even 8:50. 8:06. School doesn't start till 8:15. 8:06, she texted me. Everybody's leaving. Nobody's here. I'm the only one, basically, of her friends. And so we're like, this is kind of like one of those things, like, happens once in a life. You know what I mean? So we pulled Ava. I just went and got Ava. But I was like, if you get Ava, she's got to go to the gym with me. So she made her, she made her go to the gym. And then the older kids, I said they could leave like at 11, so they came home. But we left Chase at school.
How come you didn't go to the gym with Val?
Have
you fallen off? You were doing so good. You were number 4.
I was, and then I freaking wrecked my back. Remember that?
And how's your back now?
It's finally it still hurts, but it's getting better. So I just go to do stretches.
All right, I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you then.
I just work on my biceps.
I know how back pain is.
I just work on my biceps so that I can look good in a ref shirt. My arms.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, we left Jace at school though because he was there with his buddies, and we figured he'd have more fun with his friends and all the kids at school than he would with us, just sitting there watching.
Because I can remember. I feel like I remember in middle school. I don't think it was elementary school. I feel like I was in middle school because we went on top of the band hall. There was only 2 times we ever went on top of the band hall when I was in middle school. One was to watch the eclipse with whatever class I was in when it came. Obviously not Path of Totality, but some sort of eclipse. And then to drop the eggs. Remember when you had to do the egg baby or the egg crate to see if you could keep it from breaking? So those were the 2 times they ever allowed us on top of the band hall. One was for the eclipse and one was to drop an egg. So.
Well, we never. I just don't remember it. I mean, I remember something like because I remember them talking about like the cereal box thing, and I'm like, how does that work? And all you're doing is like looking at a shadow, right? That's basically all you're looking at.
Yeah, it's like you are looking inside the box, and then there's a pinhole that reflects it in. But it was funny because my friend Lisa, she went to go watch it with her friend, and she's like, wasn't there something like you poked a hole in a piece of paper or something? I watched it. And I was like, yeah, but I don't know how that works. She's like, neither did I. So we just poked a hole in it and watched it through. And she's like, and then after I started researching it, and you're supposed to do all this other stuff. So basically we just ruined our eyes.
Yeah. Oh, they
literally poked a pinhole in a piece of paper.
They're just watching it. Yeah.
I was like, that didn't protect your eye from anything. She's like, I know, apparently not.
Because it says it's like a viewer, so you're like, oh, you just, you know.
Yeah, she's like, I couldn't remember what it was. She's like, I looked for glasses. I tried to buy glasses. She's like, so I just poked some holes in papers, and we looked at it through the paper, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was more steps involved.
That's funny. That's funny.
Anyway.
All right, so Holly, Hawaiian word of the day. You're in Hawaii. I got to learn Hawaiian words so that I cannot look as much like a pasty white tourist. So maybe I can know some words.
I was just talking to your kiddos this morning, a few minutes ago, in our GroupMe chat, and I was telling them
GroupMe chat.
It's the Hawaii one where I just send beach pictures, and you don't care about the beach, so you didn't get into it.
No, that's true.
So that's normally what it is, or we just chat about how many days. Ava will update me on how many days every once in a while.
She knows. I can text her right now.
Oh yeah, it's 40 something days. I can't remember where we're at right now. I have to go back and look.
Takes her. I'll text her. Anyways,
she said she's got a whiteboard in her room, and every day she updates it with the number of days. So
right, see how long it takes her to respond.
But anyways, I was just telling them how I was mad about the weather this weekend because
39. It took her literally like 12 seconds.
There it is. Oh shoot, 39. But I was telling them how I was upset about the weather because I can't work in my tan, and these last few weeks before you guys come are crucial for my tan so that I can make sure I'm darker than they are when they visit. And I don't know why I brought that up. Train of thought's gone on that.
I'll tell you what.
What were we even? I don't even know what we were talking about.
The Hawaiian word of the day. But I'll tell you what.
Oh yeah, there we go.
I went out during the eclipse, and right before as it was starting, I just sat out there with my welder's glass and sat out and soaked up some sun. So hopefully.
Oh shoot! Now you're ready. You won't burn.
Yeah, just one time for 35 minutes, and I'll be good to go.
You need to start doing that every day because you are so white.
I don't think I changed any shade. I didn't get red. Nothing. I just, I think the sun was literally reflecting off of me. It was like a mirror. That's what it was.
You're so pasty though. You're going to end up, hold on, I'm going to send you this picture. This is what you're going to end up looking like. Oh, with the red, dude? That's going to be you.
Yeah, I saw
that.
You're
going to have to post that. That's going to be you.
Will. Probably. All
right, so word of the day, that's what we were talking about, is pauhana. And it's actually two different words. Pau means to end, and hana is to work. So people use the term pauhana as the end of work, but like happy hour. So they'll say hey, the work day's done, let's pauhana. That means let's go out for drinks, get some happy hour cocktails. But I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said, so work is pau at 1 p.m. And I'm like, work is pow. And so I'm trying to figure out what
work is pow
typo. What typo is this? So I'm looking around pow, trying to figure out. And then so I was like, oh, you know what? I bet that's a Hawaiian word. And so I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that makes sense. Cause my friend Lisa was telling me a story how some of the workers would always be like, pow, pow, end of the day, pow. And then they're done. It's 3 p.m. hits, pow. They don't do anything else. They will stop mid whatever they're doing, put their tools away and leave. And they're like, pow, out, see ya.
Bye.
So anyway, yeah. So I had to look that up and figure it out. So pauhana.
Well, that reminds me of when I was on my mission, and I used to listen to a little musical band called Pauhana. And
interesting.
They were Hawaiian reggae band. So look them up, Pauhana. And they sang a song called 2 Years to Eternity. And it talked about him going on a mission and just looking at his picture of his girlfriend and only 2 years, and then we can get married, the kind of a thing. Pauhana. 2 years to eternity. And he's even 2 years to eternity. And it kind of was very, So look that up. It's on YouTube. Yes, it was very Boys to Men. It was very Boys to Men. So look that up. I sent you the link.
That's
Holly,
hysterical.
Pauhana.
I'm going to look that up. I'm definitely going to look that up.
So if you look it up, watch it, go on YouTube, look up Pauhana, 2 years to eternity. And let us know what you think about that.
You'll have to introduce Jerry to that band so he can start listening to them. Jerry and Joe.
funny thing. So, when I was on my mission, I had a girlfriend, kind of, and
You had a girlfriend before?
Before my
Before
mission.
your mission.
And then
Got it. Okay.
kind of on my mission, she'd write, and we were gonna one day get married, and that didn't happen. But I actually learned on the ukulele how to play because they're playing a ukulele, so I learned the chords on the ukulele.
Please tell me you sang it to her on a tape and sent it to her in the mail.
I could have. I may have. Didn't send it in
dang.
email because we didn't use email at the time. But
Correct.
I may have recorded it. I don't remember, but I could play it. 2 years to eternity. I learned how to do the chords. I couldn't tell you what the chords were or anything. I just knew I was supposed to put my fingers here and here, and then I would play 2 years to eternity. So
sit there in your room by yourself, looking at your picture, singing and crying.
That's it.
Dear God. Dear God.
So how's Holly? How's the food over there? How's the Mexican?
Mexican's not great. I haven't had any though because I've been sticking to my diet pretty good.
I mean, you've had it before.
I mean, it's going to put me in the poorhouse. I've only had the Mexican food over here once, and it was terrible. The one place we went. Oh, it was so bad. But yeah, I've been sticking with the diet for the most part. I have allowed myself, because I have a couple girlfriends over here now. I've met Lisa and Kelly, and so far they're not crazy. They're just normal chicks, and they're my age. We have a good time, and we usually get together weekends because it's both of their time off is Saturday, Sunday, and it just sucks because it's like we're going to go out, but I can't do anything. I can't eat anything. I can't drink anything. And so I kind of decided one of the 2 days on the weekend that we get to hang out, I'll let myself cheat to a certain extent. Like Lisa and I hung out for whatever reason, Kelly couldn't get together last weekend. So when Lisa and I went out, we went out Saturday, and Saturday I didn't drink. And then we went to lunch, and I got so we go to this restaurant and I order the quesadilla, and I'm like, can I get that with no cheese and no sour cream? And they're like, okay. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't have dairy.
A quesadilla with no cheese? So would you get
because there was nothing. Yeah. So there was it was like a Kahlua pork, but there was nothing on the menu I could eat. That was literally okay, I could take the cheese and the sour cream off. So, but they made the tortilla from the ube, which is the purple yam.
Right.
So it was an ube tortilla with Kahlua
you told me
pork.
I was supposed to try that at one point.
Yeah, it's pretty good. They're pretty good. You'll have them when you come here. Okay. But yeah, so I ate that with, guacamole and salsa, and it didn't really, the cheese is there to adhere it together, so it didn't really adhere it, but.
Pork inside of a tortilla.
Yeah. And it was pretty bland, but it was fine. Not bland, just boring. Not bland in flavor, but bland as in,
right.
This is what I ate, but right. So we did the Scottish festival Saturday morning, and then went and got that for lunch. And then Saturday or Sunday we went out and I did drink, but I only had a couple drinks, but I got vodka with soda and a lime. So there's nothing in the soda water I can't have. And then the vodka's potato vodka, but I mean, it was the alcohol, but it was still better than what I could have had.
So how many redheads were at the Scottish festival? That's the Irish festival. Back up.
No. It's kind of the same. There was a few gingers.
Hold on.
At the Scottish.
So, are they how many people are at the Scottish festival? Because I could think, hey, there's hey, we're having a Hawaiian festival. Obviously, everybody's gonna be there. It's not I don't look at Hawaii as a melting pot of people.
It's a melting pot.
Maybe it is.
It's a pretty good melting pot. They had the Irish festival on St. Patrick's Day, or
there's
Irish
a lot of
parade.
there, I bet.
Yes, and the Irish parade was kind of funny because it did consist of a lot of just pasty white redheads, but it also consisted of Hawaiians that I'm pretty sure there was no Irish in them, and then it had a mix. But that parade was just sad. It was probably not even 30 minutes long. And most of it was they started out with the bagpipes, which was really cool. And then it was essentially the Volkswagen Club.
Right.
So it was just a bunch of people who probably weren't even, there was white people, Hawaiian, obviously some Irish, but just driving their punch bucks in Volkswagens down the street.
Right.
I didn't understand that, but whatever. But the Scottish one, it's have you ever watched the Highland Games on,
no.
I don't know, ESPN will play them, and it's all of the Scottish games that they do, the hammer toss, and you run with a log, and then you try to flip the log. You've never seen those?
No. It's the hammer toss where you hit your thumb as hard as you can and then chunk it.
Probably. That would be our version of it.
If you don't,
But,
if you don't cuss, it don't count.
well, we watched some of the games, and as we're standing there, it's like me and Lisa, and we're standing there, and there's like a Scottish band playing behind us, and then we're watching. There was a black guy who was wearing a kilt. I was like, hello. But he had droopy shoulders, so I couldn't talk to him. I can't talk to a man who looks like a tent. That's true. He looked like a tent. It was like straight down. Like there was no shoulders. It was just down. Anyway, as we're standing there watching them do their thing, I just fall. Like I lose my balance, and Lisa's like, what just happened?
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, I caught myself, but had I not caught myself, I would have gone all the way to the ground. And she's like, wait, what just happened? And I'm like, just lost my balance. She's like, oh my God, we were just standing. I'm like, I know. So anyway, we went and did that. This was all back onto food. And then so Sunday I did cheat a little bit, had some alcohol. But
I couldn't remember how we got here.
I don't know either. We're talking
Because we were talking
alcohol,
about Mexican food.
Oh, food.
Talking about Mexican food, and then all of a sudden we're talking about the Scottish festival.
Scottish games. So yeah, so I did go out Sunday. I did cheat Sunday though, full. A little bit. We went to brunch and I ordered, I don't know, something that I could have. Oh, an omelet, which I don't really like eggs, but I can do an omelet a little bit because it's got like a bunch of different stuff mixed in. Uh-huh. So I did that. And then I did have, she ordered like a little tiny thing that had a little mini pancake, coconut pancake. So I ordered that, or I ate one of hers. But then otherwise, like I've been trying to do really good on the diet and kind of follow it. And I was talking to Kimber this morning, and I was telling her I'm going to have to get a second job just to support the diet. But anyway, I do feel better. I'm definitely not bloated like I was. So, but boy, it is just so boring.
It's boring. Yeah. And
are you back on it? You said you and Lexi were going to do it.
Probably 80-20.
Yeah.
Lexi's doing really, really good. I haven't asked her how she's been feeling, but she comes in every morning. Dad, I don't know what to take for snack. I don't know what to take here. So I help her out, and, with things, but she's not completely on it like we are. Like she does like Ezekiel bread and things like that. But anyways, for the most part, so I'll have to ask her. I'll have to follow up with her because I didn't even see her yesterday. Like, I don't even know why. Past few days I've been working out in my garage. Not working out, but I've been in my garage, which I'll get to later. But so it sounds like you're doing well. Just keep going. I just look at it too like it's not. I can't do this 100% of the time. It's just not possible.
Right. And that's the thing. It's like, I try to make smart choices, but
right. And it's hard for me because I don't get sick. You know what I mean? Like I don't feel terrible.
Right.
So it's hard.
Right. And I will say, like,
that's what's causing it.
Right. And Sunday when I went out and I had the alcohol and that, I think that was pretty much really the only thing that we split a piece of dessert, like a mud pie. Lisa and I split one, and I did feel like crap Monday. Like my stomach was really upset all night long, but for the most part, yeah, it was just so, it's almost like, it's unfortunate that you don't get sick. Because then it might make you stay on it a little bit more. And that's the thing, like I'm always, that's what I always think of, like,
there's ice cream in my freezer right now. I might go eat it.
I went grocery shopping and I really wanted to buy ice cream, and I was like, but then I'll just be miserable. It's just not fun.
I don't feel like I'm lactose intolerant. I don't feel terrible. So yeah. Well, good. We'll stay on it. Keep on it. I've kind of just, I try to do the best I can for what I've been given or my situation. Like if I go out to eat with somebody, I'm going to try to find something that I can eat that's better. But if it's like all I can get is, bacon cheeseburger, that's what I'm going to eat. You know what I mean? So
I'll take the bacon cheeseburger without the barbecue sauce.
Every time. All right, Holly.
I can't help it.
Let's move. Let's give these people. Let's give our listeners a bit of knowledge. Make their life of listening to us mean something. Let's improve their brain power. What do you got for us? Fun fact of
So I had quite a few fun facts, but I just cut out a few of them. Yeah, I cut out just for one, and this is a personal one to me. So I'm pretty sure most of our listeners, if not all of our listeners, know that in May of 2021, I ended up in the hospital with an aneurysm. 2021.
Okay, just making sure.
I like to enunciate like you. 2021. I ended up in the hospital with an aneurysm. And so as I was kind of trying to figure out what I was going to talk about last night, I came across the fact that about 1 in 50 people in the US currently have a brain aneurysm that just hasn't ruptured. That's about 6.5 million people. And brain aneurysms rupture about once every 18 minutes, which is about 30,000 a year. So one of the warning signs that I had with mine, just in case this ever happens to anybody, it's good to know, I had what was called a thunderclap headache, where it was a very sudden headache, light sensitivity. For about 30 seconds, it was the worst pain of my entire life. And then it stopped. And I didn't think anything of it. I just went about my day. I had a headache for the next 2 weeks, but not like a thunderclap, but a persistent headache where I was taking a lot of ibuprofen throughout the day, like trying to relieve the headache. And then I had some blurred vision and vision issues. I didn't think much of those, though, because I was thinking I had just gotten a new prescription that week for my glasses or my contacts. And it was the week that my doctor decided to give me one far and one near.
Right.
So I wouldn't have to get reading glasses. And so he was like, it's going to take your eyes some time to adjust, maybe give it a week or two, and then you should be. So I'm thinking this whole time, like my vision issues are related to this, not thinking about it, but at some point, like I would be putting on my like makeup and all of a sudden I just couldn't see for a second. And then I'd like, close my eyes and squint and do this. And then I'd open them and I could see again. Or there was like yellow, it was like a halo around everything that I was looking at. And so when I contacted my doctor, and I actually tried to get in to see my doctor, and my doctor wasn't available, but I said to them, well, I really need to get in because I've had a headache for like 2 weeks and it will not go away. And it was a really horrible headache. And now it's just persistent. Well, they called me back immediately because they were like, I don't know if we can get you in, maybe a couple days. Well, then they called me back immediately and they were like, we're going to get you in with another doctor because he heard about the symptoms and he just wants to know some more questions. So when I went in, the first person, the nurse who's like checking you in, and this was all telehealth because this was still COVID.
Right.
She's asking me all these questions about like vision and, blah, blah, blah. And he gets on and he basically tells me, this sounds like a thunderclap headache. He's like, have you ever heard of when somebody has an aneurysm right before they like will grab their head a lot of times and say like, oh, I have a really bad headache, and then they fall over and die? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, that's what this sounds like. And so I'm like, oh, okay.
Great.
So he's like, walk across and, get your x-rays done. And so in the end, I ended up in the hospital, and they were discussing brain surgery at one point, but they're like, our first step is to see if we can get the aneurysm to basically stop, because it's a blood clot in your brain, right. Basically. Mm-hmm. So they're like, we're going to see if we can get this to kind of, I don't know what you would call it, melt back into the blood, like not be clotted. Yeah. So they gave me a blood thinner, 3 different blood thinners over the course of the first day I was there, and they worked. So I didn't have to have brain surgery. So anyway, aneurysms. So just note to self, there you go.
There you go. Warning signs. 6.5 million
warning
people.
Signs.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many people?
Oh, that was
325 million.
I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know. There you go.
Okay.
Not to scare anybody. That was kind of morose. Sorry, but it was just personal to me, so I thought it was an interesting fact.
Yeah. So tell me about the bird. Tell me about the bird in the trash cans. Lighten the mood a little bit here.
Oh my God, the bird in the trash can. I get home one day from the beach, and I had to stop in and talk to Susan for some. Lisa and Kelly had come over for a beach day, and right now for the month of April.
That was last time we recorded, right?
Yes, I think it was that same day. Yep, it sure was. So they came over for a beach day, and for the month of April, there's no parking on the streets anywhere in Lanikai, which is where I live, because they're doing construction on the road into Lanikai. There's one road in and out, and so they're doing construction on that road. So in order to try to limit traffic coming in and out, going to the beach, they've closed. There's no parking on the street, no street parking. So the girls got here. Kelly parked in the driveway in front of my car, but Susan had to leave, so Lisa couldn't park next there. But Susan has a gate at the front of her house that she can open, and there's like an extra place to park on the lawn. Like she's got the concrete strips there so people can park. So Lisa was parked there. So we get back from the beach. Kelly had already left. Lisa and I are coming back so Lisa can get her car. We get the gate open. Lisa leaves. I'm kind of walking through to go to my apartment, and Chris, who is Susan's son. So Susan and Chris are sitting there chatting. And so in passing, they start chatting to me. We're just talking about whatever. I sit down. At some point, Susan is like, hey, I'm going to go. I think this was Easter Sunday, as a matter of fact, because she was going to Easter dinner at one of her friends' houses. And so Chris and I are just sitting chatting. and she had just thrown something in the trash outside. She's got a little trash can outside on her patio,
Right.
you know, just for whatever. Because or her lanai, because they entertain and, you know, it's just for people to throw their trash in. So she leaves. Chris and I are sitting there, and like there's like a loud noise, like thumping noise coming from the trash can. And I'm like, oh my gosh, do you think there's a rat in that trash can? Because Lisa and Kelly and I had recently talked about like the rat problem in Hawaii, that I've never seen rats, but apparently there's a rat problem.
They probably live up in the palm trees.
Right. Did I tell the story how they brought in mongooses to get rid of the rat problem?
No, I haven't heard that either.
Okay, I'll tell you that story.
We'll have to go later.
At some point. Yes, at some point. But
I mean, I just think about like the old lady who swallowed a fly right now. Like they brought in mongooses to get rid of the rats, and then they couldn't get rid of the mongooses, so they had to bring in whatever else. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That's what.
Well, rats and mongoose are on different schedules.
Oh.
So now they just haven't. They're overrun with. That's it. That's all you got to know. They're on different sleep schedules. So that hasn't worked out.
Well, mongooses believe rats. Well, yeah, they will, but
they spent a lot of money, like in the millions, from what I understand, to bring these mongoose in. Mongoose.
I would think it would be.
I don't know.
English.
Maybe it's just mongoose.
Mongooses.
Maybe there's no S. Maybe mongoose is the singular, and the plural. Mongoose.
Okay, so
anyway,
you have a thumping noise.
So we hear the thumping noise, and I'm like, oh my gosh, was that a rat in the trash can? And Chris is like, no, something just shifted in there. I was like, I don't know, I think it's a rat. We were just talking about the rat. So he walks over and he picks up the trash and shakes it really hard, like just gives it a violent shake and sets it back down, like as a joke. And he sits down and we're chatting again. And I mean, it was like a violent shake. And we're chatting and he's like, see, it was just the trash settling. Well, then like a couple minutes later, as we're chatting, we hear the thumping again.
Oh, wow.
And Chris is like, oh my gosh, there is something in the trash. I bet it is a rat. So I'm like, so he's walking over the trash. He's going to open the thing and look in. And I'm like, hold up, I want to step back. I'm stepping back because I don't want whatever it is jumping out at me. He's like, oh, because rats jump. He says it as he opens the lid or takes the lid off, and this bird flies out into his face. He screams, stumbles backward, and it was like the loudest, like, little girl scream. It's the only way like I could describe it. Like, it scared the bejesus out of him. And I get scared. And I'm laughing. And then we look over, and the bird is like freaked out. Of course, it's just been violently shaken up in this trash can. Then it flies out into his face, and he's like, ah! Like falls backwards. The like bird is hitting the ceiling, trying to get out of the lanai area. Finally gets out and sits on like the net. She's got a net. That's covering, like, that goes over where her ferns are, that the birds always sit on. And that bird must have sat there for like 5 minutes, not moving. And feathers, poor little bird, just feathers were falling off the bird. Like, I'm guessing from being shaken up. And I could not stop laughing. And he's like, what made me laugh even harder? He's like, could you imagine if that was my mom who opened it?
Yes.
And then that just sent us into roaring laughter again. But that bird just like got him right in the face.
That's funny.
And he's like, how did it get in there? And I was like, I don't know. It must have went to sit on the trash can, because it's one that when you push the two levers open and the trash goes in and they close again. So it's like, it must have sat right in the middle and went right in. But the crazy thing was Susan had just thrown stuff in the trash right before she left and didn't make a noise at all. And then and it shifted. He thought it shifted because he threw the beer can in there. On top, it probably hit the bird. And he's like, oh, no, that was the trash just shifting. I was like, no, you threw a beer bottle on top of the bird. So,
bird
anyway.
in the trash.
Good times, good times.
All right, Holly. So, a few years ago.
Tell me about your hand.
During COVID, we bought a golf cart because we were going to the pool a lot. And, the kids, it's just, it was fun. It's just something you do up here.
Right, and you guys have a big neighborhood. And
yeah, going places. It's I'll tell you, in the summertime, you getting in the golf cart is way better than getting into your car to go somewhere.
Hot car.
So the golf cart always open. It sits in the garage. Anyways, so it's been 4 years, and so we put 1,500 miles on this golf cart. Oh
wow.
Just think about it, just driving around our neighborhood, a couple of neighborhoods, right? So we've got, so I talked to when I bought it, I talked to the guy, and he says, the batteries will last 3 to 5 years, and then you got to replace the batteries. And he said, if you get lithium, it'll last maybe a little bit longer. It'll last probably 10 years. And And I thought, well, what's it cost to replace like batteries, the regular lead acid batteries? And he's like, oh, he gives me the price. And I said, well, I could buy 3 sets of those for the price of the upgrade, right? Well, it's been 4 years. The price of lead acid batteries has gone up. And we were driving the golf cart the other day because we haven't driven it as much lately. So we're driving it the other day, and Ava's like, Dad, it's literally like dead super fast. And so we drive it around probably 3 miles, and it's like 50%. And it's just terrible. And I'm like, okay, so we need new batteries. Awesome. And the tires are just worn out. And so I'm like, okay, we need new tires and new batteries. And then, debating, do we sell it? If we decide to put a pool in, obviously I don't think we'll need the golf cart as much. Do we sell it? Whatever. Try to get resale value. Maybe I'll just put batteries in it just enough to sell it, put some tires on it, good to go.
Right.
So, it's supposed to be easy, right? I'll buy tires, I'll go get the tires on, I'll buy batteries, I'll put the batteries in.
No
problem, right?
The problem is why are you saying aisle? Like, this should be like, I take it over to my brother-in-law who is mechanically inclined.
Well, listen.
I call my friend over who is mechanically inclined.
I can take the tires off, the wheels off, take it to my guy.
See your hand? Let me see your hand again.
It's not from my wheels. No, it is from my wheels.
Okay.
It is from it. Not directly from my wheels. Indirectly because of the wheels.
All right.
Okay, so I'm like, let's do this. So I go and I'm like, you know what? Somebody told me they have batteries at Costco for golf carts. So I go to Costco and I'm like, buy these batteries. The lead acid batteries, they're $120 each, about $800. The guy told me it'd be about $1,000 to replace the batteries. I said, okay, perfect.
Why 1,000? They're $120 each.
Initially,
How many batteries do you need?
when I first bought it, you need 6.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So I put the batteries in and I'm driving around and I'm like, this is still terrible. Like, it's terrible. Like, the battery power is horrendous. For brand new batteries, it's like just the same.
Did you put the batteries in wrong?
No. The batteries, everything was fine.
Oh, okay.
Everything was fine. But I'm like, this is not good. So then I start researching and I'm like, okay, let me find like the good batteries for the golf cart, right? Well, then I'm looking at they're like $1,800, almost $2,000 for like good batteries that are going to last. And I'm like, okay, well, let me look
What was the cost of the lithium at this point?
at the lithium. So I'm like, well, let me look at lithium.
Oh,
Like, I could get a lithium, battery, replace it for $2,500. So I'm like, I might as well spend the extra $500 to $600 and get lithium battery, right? Which, in speaking with other golf cart dealers, they're like, yeah, lead acid's definitely gone up in price, and lithium's the way to go. So I ordered the lithium battery, get it coming. Now,
You returned the other ones?
yeah, so I go to Costco, they're like, yeah, absolutely, bring them back. So the lead acid batteries are about 70 pounds each. There's 6 of them. The lithium battery is 100 pounds, okay, total. So that all comes
for
into
all
play.
6.
There's only
Lithium
one
batteries are 100 for all.
There's only,
Oh,
there's
okay.
only one lithium battery. There's 6
Got
of them.
it.
It's like a conversion. You convert the thing. Now
Got
that's going to come into play later, okay? So
Oh,
in the
Jesus.
meantime, I take a picture of the sidewall of the tire, and I'm like, okay, I need 25 by 10.5 by 12 inch tires, right? No problem. Go on Amazon, buy my tires, 25 by 10.5 by 12, and I am standing in line at Discount Tire because they're closer. I wanted to just get it done. My brother-in-law would have done it. I would have gone there. I was like, it's probably going to cost the same amount. I text him later. He's like, bro, I'd have done it for free. Like, just bring them to me next time. I'm like, dang it. So he's like, get these new tires put on.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm standing in line, and I'm like, let me just make sure I bought the right size. So I look at the sidewall of the picture I took. And I didn't look at the tires in my car because they were in the back of the truck. It's not 25 by 10.5 by 12. It's 23 by 10.5 by 12. So now what that 25 to 23
Got fat tires.
is it's a taller tire. It's 25 inches in
Right.
radius instead of, or diameter instead of 23-inch diameter. So then I'm like, will it work? So I talked to the guy. He's like, yeah, I mean, if it'll fit on the golf cart, it'll work. No problem. Like, just as long as it fits on, the size really doesn't matter. The width is 10.5. That's the same. 12-inch rim. That's the same. It's just going to sit a little bit. It's just going to sit in there. I'm like, okay, yeah, no problem. So we get them on. I get them back to the house. Back wheels won't fit on. And I'm like, seriously? Well, there's a little plastic wheel well. And so I have to cut the wheel well. So I cut the wheel well out a little bit. You can't see it. It's behind. It's normal. People do that all the time with their cars. I knew that from the dealership.
Okay. Just making
so
sure.
I cut it out, and I get a little bit of a gap. Now I'm like, okay, perfect. The 25s fit. I back out of the garage because it kind of the top of the golf cart kind of has always kind of rubbed
really close.
there's a little rubber piece that hangs down. It's always kind
So
of
how are you?
So
How are you going to park this in the garage? So you backed it out of the garage with the tires?
Yeah, I backed it out.
Oh, okay.
It fit the whole deal. Mind you, I still have the Costco batteries in there at this point. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, no problem. I order the lithium battery. I take out the 6 golf cart batteries, and now I've got to convert this to a lithium. Okay, so I've got to install
so many things
parts.
in the story.
I've got to install things, and let me tell you, Holly, I am the absolute worst handyman ever in the history.
I know, that's why
of the world.
Val always fix shit. I can't believe you did this and didn't have Val come out and do it.
Yeah, so Val does help me with stuff all the time because she thinks things.
Or just hire it out, bro. Just
Listen,
hire
it's
it
easy.
out.
I'm not gonna pay
Why
for
don't
it.
you?
Listen.
Nothing is ever easy. You're a Pritchard.
Listen, I was going to do it. It was simple. I can do this kind of stuff. So then I'm sitting in there with the battery arrives. It's on a pallet, this new battery. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this thing installed. So I watch. Okay, there's 0 instructions. You get 0 instructions on how to do this. So I YouTube it. I'm looking on YouTube. Hey, this is what I had to do. So I did, where the batteries sit. You got 6 of them. So there's little notches to keep everything in place. Little nose. I got to keep it all in place. I have to cut all that out to make a nice flat surface. Okay, work on that. Get it done. Well, this thing's 100 pounds. I can't lift it up into the thing. I can't maneuver it the way I need to maneuver it myself. So
Jerry.
I text my buddy Marcel. And Marcel is my handyman. He's like, anytime I need anything done, I call Marcel. And I said,
See the guy who has like all of
every tool,
the dollies and every tool you need?
Yes.
That's the dude. Okay.
That's Marcel. I've known Marcel about 10 years. And so I said, Marcel, you want to do something fun? He's like, yeah, sure. Mind you, Marcel's an airline pilot. So chances are he's at home. If ever I need something, he's usually at home. He works like 10 days a month. And I'm like, Marcel, do you want to do something fun? He's like, yeah, sure. What? I'm always up for something fun. What do you need to do? I'm like, I need to convert my lead acid batteries to a lithium battery in my golf cart. He's like, awesome. I'm on my way. Do I need any cutting tools? Nah, we're good. We needed cutting tools. Do I need this? Nah, we're good. Needed that. So I'm like, we're good. So he shows up. The hardest part was trying to figure out how to mount this thing in. So we get it all figured out. We had to drill some extra screws into the brackets. We get it working. Boom. Perfect.
I'm glad he's a handyman because...
Dude, it's awesome.
Okay.
So
keep going.
What do you think's going to happen to the golf cart if I remove 6
70-pound
it's
going to raise up.
and put in a 100-pound battery?
It's going to raise up, so it probably can't get out of the garage at this point.
Yeah, so we get it all done, and he leaves, and I'm like, dude, I'm taking this thing on a spin. I'm going to see if this thing's even better. And I go to back out, and as I'm looking, I'm like, dude, this thing seems kind of tall. I'm about an inch to an inch and a half too tall. Now I can't get it out of the garage. So the 25-inch tires now won't work. Yeah. So the next day, I find 4 tires that are the ones I need, the 23s. I go buy them. I come back to my house.
Why didn't you call Marcel again?
Because it's just taking the tires off. So I
it's never just.
I jack up the golf cart.
God.
This is terrible. And I put it on a jack stand. Well, 4 tires, 4 jack stands, right? 1 on each tire. I'm like, dude, if I just put it in the middle, and then I only have 2 jack stands. I only have 2 jack stands.
Dude!
I put a jack stand in the middle and the back, and the tires off. Take the jack to the front, jack it up, put the jack stand in the middle. Now it's teetering. But I'm like, if I put the jack on one of the sides, it'll jack it up, and now it's like a tripod, right? It's like a triangle.
But why didn't you do it like one in the middle in the back and one in the front in the back? Like one in the front, one in the back in the middle.
I did.
And then it wouldn't teeter. You said you stuck one in the middle.
No, I didn't use a jack. I used a jack stand. No, in the
I don't
middle.
know what that means.
In the middle of the axles. So you jack it up, and then you have a stand that it comes down. And it sits
in the middle of the axles. Okay, got it.
Middle of the axles in the front.
I thought you meant middle of the cart. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Okay.
No. But now, mind you, it's still teetering, right? Because there's only 2, and it's in the middle. And
right.
I don't think about these things, so I'm the worst handyman ever. So I put the jack up, jack this thing up, and now it's kind of sitting on 3. Well, now it's a little bit higher, and it's kind of close to the garage door. So then I'm like, okay, got all the wheels off. It's it seems fine. And I put all the wheels into the van, and I close the garage, and all of a sudden I hear like dum-dum-dum, and I'm
crash.
Like, okay, I think what happened is the garage door.
Why did you close the garage?
Why
did you close the garage?
I was leaving, so the garage door just hit the golf cart. It's okay, everything's fine.
Wait a minute! You were leaving to go buy the tires. You hadn't bought the new tires yet.
I bought the tires, but I was leaving to go get them mounted. So
okay.
Take the old ones off and put the new ones on.
Mounted? What do you mean go get them mounted? Your golf cart's in the garage. Get them mounted on what?
Well, so I have rims and tires. I got to get the old tires off the rims and put the new tires on the new
Oh,
ones.
yeah. Okay. Fair point. Okay, got it.
So this time
is why I'm not a handyman either.
This time I go to my brother-in-law. I was going to do it for free. So I hear this crash bang boom. And I walk into that garage because I open the middle garage. Not the same one. I open the middle.
Dear God, right.
And I look in, and the golf cart has fallen off of the jacks and is now partway onto the ground.
And it's probably resting on the tire.
On the brake pad, or the brake the rotor.
Whatever. Mm-hmm.
It had fallen off. I don't know what to do at this point. Okay? I'm like,
Marcel?
What do I do? No, I call
Marcel?
Val's eating breakfast. I'm like, I need your help. She's like, I'm eating breakfast. You're going to have to wait. I'm like, it just went from bad to worse. Oh, so I'm like, well, I still have the jack. So I move the jack stand out. I lower the jack, move the other jack stand out. And the golf cart, makes its way down. Now it's resting all the way on the ground on all four brake rotors. I'm like, awesome. So I start jacking it up a little bit, get the jack stand. Well, now I get it up, and I essentially do the same thing because I'm a dummy. And it gets up enough, and the golf cart starts to tip towards me. And I stick my hand up, and that's where this came from because I grabbed something.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm holding onto this golf cart.
Under?
I'm not underneath. I'm on the side of it, like holding it up. And if I push this way, it's just going to fall that way. So I have to just let it rest. And I'm like, Val! She comes out. She's like, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? Why are you such an idiot, basically? And I'm like, I just need you. Okay, jack this up a little bit. Okay, we're going to move it over here so we finally get it done. So I call Marcel, or I text him, and I'm like, hey man, are you home? He's like, yeah. I'm like, I need 2 more jack stands. I said, I'm on my way, but just bring the jack stands to my house. You can drop them off. And if you want to go inside and laugh at me and my dumbness, like, feel free.
Did you leave them teetering then?
No, so I got it a little, like I made the tripod a little better. So it was definitely, it was a little more stable. So he gets there and he's like, bro. I was like, well, I figured he's like, you got 2 jack stands in the middle. I'm like, I figured if I could tripod it with the thing. He's like, yeah, but it's all in a line. It's like on a tightrope right now, bro. I'm like, listen, don't judge me. He's like,
why didn't you triangle it? You should have triangled it.
Listen, I don't know.
That's all right. I would have done the same thing.
So it's supposed to be easy. So now I have 4 extra tires in my garage that I'm trying to sell because they won't take them back from at Amazon because they've already been mounted. And so now I'm trying to sell those.
How do they know, though?
There's stuff definitely.
Okay.
There's definitely.
I didn't know if okay.
Because it would have been sent back directly to them.
But you can't clean them.
Not to Amazon. I mean, I could. But
okay.
So I'm just gonna try to sell them for basically a little bit less than what I bought them for, and take the loss. But it's supposed to be easy. I just buy golf cart tires. Can't buy the right freaking size. It's gonna get new battery, put it in. It's gonna work. Nope. Can't be easy. Nothing can be easy. And now I've got a huge gash in my hands, and
that reminds me of my gashing stories.
Well, you stab yourself.
Well, I didn't stab myself. This just happened recently.
Oh.
So 2 days ago, the weather was gorgeous. Like 0 wind, literally 0 wind, which never happens. So it's like early in the morning, it's Wednesday, or maybe it was Tuesday, Wednesday. I don't remember what day it was. But weather's beautiful outside, no clouds, sky's blue. I'm like, what's going on? And I noticed it because I was talking to Lisa and I was like, yeah, so this morning I'm going to do some cleaning. I'm going to organize my paddleboard accessories and get them all put away into the tote. Because I just had I have 2 paddleboards that I bought and I just have the bags and everything just kind of thrown on my upstairs lanai. And so she was like, oh, you should store these in those 2 totes you have, put all your accessories in, then they're not going to get ruined by the elements. So I was like, okay, good idea. So I'm telling her this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some cleaning today. Well, then I noticed wait a minute, there's no wind blowing in the trees, right out the front of the direction that I'm looking right now. There's some trees right there. And so I can always look at those and see how windy is it going to be. So then if I look out this back window, I can see the palm trees at the beach. And usually they're just crazy blowing. Well, they're not blowing at all. And I'm like, rare opportunity. It's 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go take my paddleboard out. I'm trying to learn to stand up on it.
Stand up yet on the paddleboard?
The ocean has been so rough. I could do it if we were in a calm canal.
Right.
But into the ocean, it's the waves are coming and it's constant. And so I was able to stand up one time when we took it out, but it was for a very short time because it was a very windy day, which caused the waves to just be rough. So it's like finally a day that I can practice standing up in the ocean. So I hurry up and get ready, pack my bag and my ice chest, go set it up on the beach, come back, grab my board, go back down, get it out on the water. And trying to get on it the first time I did fall, I was a little embarrassed because there's like people on the beach, but then I realized nobody's even looking, nobody cares, because a wave did hit it. And it had turned, so the wave came this way. So then I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, well, I need to face my board in like kind of into the wave at an angle like they do when I thought of like when I watch people going out like on surfboards and they're paddling out. They don't go this way because then the water will flip them. But if they go towards it kind of at a little bit of an angle, they can do it. So I kind of figured that out. I start getting out. I'm able to stand up and I'm paddling and I'm like, okay, this is, awesome. It was very hard still, like, because it's a little shaky, and you're trying to figure out your balance and where do you stand and where do your feet go. And I stand up, I'm paddling out, and put up right now a picture of the islands that I always send in my picture. The two, they're called the Mokes. Okay. So this is what they are, the Mokes. They're always in my pictures, every picture I send, because that's the view from my beach. Right. Well, I decide I'm going to paddle out to the Mokes because I'm like,
kind of a far way.
Okay, so in my mind, I'm like those are really close.
I've seen the picture, and I'm like that. Like you're like I'm going to paddle to the Mokes. Okay, in your mind it's not far, but like you can look at it and see that it's far.
Right, but in my mind I'm like I could do that. That's close. That's nothing. I used to row for an hour or two every day on my rower. So I'm all right. I'm going out to the Mokes.
When was the last time you rode on your rower for an hour?
All right, it was a while, but
that's what I'm saying. Like it's been a while,
right? And on top of that, so I do have on my sun shirt because I was like, the last time we went out, I just didn't wear like a rash guard or anything. And the board did rub like onto my arm and it just caused like a little bit of rash. I was like, okay, I'm going to wear my long sleeve shirt out also for sun protection. And I took my wet bag. And so my wet bag just had like my phone in it because I have a little beach speaker that's like made, it can get wet. So I just tie that onto the front, turn on some music, and I had like in the wet bag my hotspot so I could make sure I had signal to listen to music and just a few different things. And then I just stuck a water bottle. I have the bungees that crisscross on the back of the board. I stuck a water bottle in there. So I'm paddling out. I'm like, okay, we're doing it. So I'm standing paddling. It's like, okay, well then way out in the water that runs parallel to the shoreline, there is a reef. So that's why we don't get like the huge waves coming in on my beach. So I'm headed out that way. And the closer I'm getting to the reef, the stronger the waves are becoming and I'm becoming unstable. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down at this point. So
how far away are the Mokes at this point?
In my mind, I will say at this point, this is when I decided, like when I got that far out, that's when I decided I was going to the Mokes. I didn't know I was going to the Mokes. I was totally like, didn't bring a towel, didn't bring anything with me, just this one little bottle of water. And so I'm like, oh, I'm already out here. I'm just going to cut across and go. Well, I had forgotten at one point when I was talking to Chris, Susan's son, that he was like, yeah, you can't paddle straight out to the Mokes because not only is that reef thing, but there's a big field of reef, coral reef, and you really can't get through. So to get to the Mokes to paddle out from our side, you have to paddle down the shore for a ways and then straight out. Okay, none of this is coming to mind as I'm out there. Like, I'm just excited. I'm like, I'm going to the Mokes. I'm going to take pictures. Okay, also, I forgot my life vest this day, so totally unprepared for this.
Oh, jeez.
Don't have a life vest on.
How deep's the water? Like, you have the reef right there. How deep's the water?
It's not. It depends. In some areas, it's very shallow, but other areas, it is deep. Like, it's deceiving because the water's clear, but it's over my head deep. Yeah, So I paddle along the reef break line, kind of, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of reef coming up. And then I realize it's this reef field. And at the time, I'm following kind of like these kayakers, these two kayakers that are going out. And I'm like, those idiots are going the long way. I'm just going to cut across the reef field, not registering still that Chris is like, you can't go across the reef field. So I'm going through. Well, now I'm going parallel to the reef break. Big wave comes, flips me into the coral. So now I've got cuts. There was some cuts on my hand, but I've been cleaning them.
Coral, probably.
I know. So all over my knee. Yeah, I do have cuts on my knee, cuts down my leg, on the bottom of my feet. I had one on my hand, but I cleaned it, so I can't see the little mark anymore. But there was blood. There was a lot of blood, I will say that. So And now at this point, because I'm so close to the reef break, I can't get back on my board because there's all the reef around. The waves are crashing on me. I don't have my life vest on. And luckily, like I'm a pretty strong swimmer. I'm very comfortable in water. I knew I needed to keep my wits about me because if I panicked, that's when there was going to be trouble.
There's probably the stinging. It's stinging probably while you're in the water.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to get on the board, but I can't because every time I like get ready to get on, big wave comes. So I'm like, and I'm trying to do this just coming out of the water because I don't want to stand on the coral because obviously it's a living thing. You don't want to touch it or anything, but I'm like, I'm going to have to at this point. Like the only way I can get the leverage with these waves coming is to stand on it and get on it. So I end up doing that, which cuts my foot again. Yep. I end up getting on. And at this point I'm like, okay, I totally could have drowned had I not been a strong swimmer or whatever, because I didn't have my life vest. But now I realize, like, okay, idiot, this is with the reef field that Chris was talking about that you cannot get across. So now I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to, at this point, I don't know if I'm giving up yet. You know, I kind of feel like, okay, I'm done. I'll go out to the Mokes another time. But then I'm like, but God, they're so close. I could do this. So now I back paddle down the reef. Yeah.
The way he told you.
Down the reef. Yeah. The way he told me, go out. I get in. And I still beat the two kayakers, though. So they were having to stop a lot. So I will say it did come into play.
So you made it.
Yeah. So I get out there. I make it. I'm there for like 30 minutes. Well, in the meantime, I go to get my water. When my boat when my board flipped, my water fell into the ocean. So I have no water. I'm like, really need some water because I've swallowed salt water at this point. There's like probably 10 other people out there that I probably could have been like, do you have a spare water? I'll pay you. And they would have gladly given me a water. But I already felt dumb, you know. So I sit out there. I take some pictures. I'm probably out there for about 30 minutes. And then I'm like, oh, well, I don't have a towel to sit on. I don't have anything. Like
completely unprepared.
Yeah, totally impromptu trip. So I'm like, okay, I'm going back. Well, to get off the Mokes, or, you know, the island of the Moke, it goes like, it's almost like a straight drop down. So it's out a little bit and then it gets deep very quickly. And because it's an island, you've got waves coming this way and waves coming this way, and they're crashing and meeting in the middle. Right. And so I cannot
get out of there.
Get on my board. So I must have flipped 6 or 7 times. And people on the shore, they're like not offering any help. I'm sure they're laughing at me. I look like an idiot. But then I'm like kind of watching the waves. I get on, because at one point I'm like, well, if I could get on and paddle out like I'm on a surfboard, that might be easier. But the waves kind of settle for a minute. I'm able to get on. I get out and I go back. Paddling back in was easier because I was, being pushed in.
Standing up at that point.
I had no energy left to stand. So at this point, I'm on my knees or on my booty paddling. I finally make it back. And it was just under 2 miles round trip. And it was a lot easier coming back than going out.
Right.
I was worn out. And I get back and I'm just cut up, everything. I take a break for a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go back to check my email or whatever.
I guess we'll have to kayak or paddleboard out to the Mokes then when we're there.
Yeah, so then I send pictures to Ava and Jerry and Lexi, and they're all like, oh, we want to do that. And I was like, so talk to your dad about getting life vests, though, because I don't have them. So I was like, just get the ones. I have one that you wear around your waist. It's like a fanny pack. And if you need it, there's a lever you pull, and then it inflates, and then you stick it around your neck. So I said, those might be better than the big vests that you have to wear, because you can't really paddle with those.
I mean, we have
anyway,
we have some different.
It was a good time, but it was a rough row. But I figured if I can do that every day, or a few times a week, that could be my exercise, because it was a rough workout. I mean, paddling against the current was rough, but and now I know you got to go down and then out.
And that's why that's why we did not record last week. It's Holly's fault. Definitely not mine.
Why was it my fault?
Because you were too tired. Cut up.
This just happened. I just did this a couple days ago. It was totally your fault.
Yes, it was.
So.
It sounds fun. It sounds like it'll be a fun thing to do. Should we wear water shoes so we don't cut our feet? Okay.
No, everybody who I've talked to who paddleboards says it's easier to do it barefoot. And I also have
paddleboards, but like I've paddleboarded.
Well, I have. Oh, you can bring your paddleboard too, by the way.
I can't bring my paddleboard on the.
Yeah, you can. You do it on oversized luggage, and it's oversized luggage. Well, I have 2 paddleboards that we can fit. Probably, we could probably fit like.
Have like the stuff to put on top of the car so that it can.
True. We could fit Jerry. Oh, because yours isn't inflatable. Yours is.
No, mine's a.
Yeah, that's right. Mine are inflatable. But we could probably fit like me, Ava, and Jace on one, Jerry and Lexi on another, or whatever. And then I have a 2-man kayak that is Susan's, but they're like, oh, you can totally use it. So they've got seats and paddles. So then you and Val, or whoever, 2 people can be in the kayak, and then the rest on the paddleboard. But it's a fun trip. And by the time you guys come, it's supposed to not be as windy in May. So I think it will be worth going out. And with multiple people, it won't be as hard, you know?
Yeah.
It was interesting. So then, I get back and I'm talking to Susan about it. And she's like, you went out on your own? And I didn't tell her I forgot my life vest. And I was like, yeah. And she's like, that's not smart. I was like, I know. And then I got flipped into the coral, and she's like, check those, because coral can get embedded underneath. They'll live underneath your skin, and then they'll cause infection. So I've been like,
then you'll become like
really diligent, right?
Like Jack Sparrow, and be like the coral guy, like walking around with coral growing on you.
I have no idea. I never saw that.
You never saw Pirates of the Caribbean?
But I guess that's what I would, no. But anyway, it was a good time, and I really enjoyed it, and was like, okay, I really like this. This is totally another thing I can add to the list of things I like. And I figure once I can get a little bit better at that and master that, then I can move on to surfing, because I need to learn how to stand first of all. So that's probably the hardest. It does take a lot of core energy. So anyway, that's my story.
Oh, well, we both have experienced being a Pritchard this week, apparently.
Truth.
Like, I don't know. Like, for me, like, why can I not think like a handyman? Like, what is this? Like, why do I not have that ability?
It's like the entrepreneur brain we were talking about.
Yeah.
You're an entrepreneur brain, not a handyman brain.
That's it. Well, Holly, let's go ahead and let's wrap it up for today. 2 things we're going to talk about real quick. Number 1, Ava, follow up on Ava's track meet. Ava did district, and she's the district champion 300-meter hurdles.
What?
So
nice.
She did really good, and then she got 3rd place in the 100-meter hurdles, and that's the one she fell on the first time.
Right. I'm trying to figure out what's the difference?
Well,
why did she get 3rd?
And one's 300 meters.
Right. I don't mean the difference in the hurdles. I mean for her, does she excel at long distance running?
Yeah, she's better at long distance.
So she better at long distance?
Right.
Okay, because I saw the video Val posted, and she killed the girls in the 300. Like she was a hurdle ahead of them.
Yeah. So the 100s, I think she would have done a little bit better, but she didn't, because she fell at area. Her time went down, so it put her down into they had 4 heats, and so it put her to the 3rd heat instead of the 1st heat. I think had she been in the 1st heat, she would have been able to push herself. Like, she would have had to push harder to beat the girls in that heat.
Gotcha.
Instead, she's in the 3rd heat, and she smoked them there too. And so
I didn't realize that's what it meant.
Hard.
Got it.
And then their 4x400, they got 3rd as well. So
she needs to be the anchor on that one, though. Well, maybe not, because I guess your anchor, you want somebody who's fast.
She did anchor that one.
Well, not fast. I mean, I'm not saying she's not fast. I thought she was 3rd.
She was 3rd in the.
Was she the 3rd or the anchor?
She was 3rd in the area, but then she was the anchor in the.
She was the anchor leg. Okay, I misread what Val said then.
Then she came and brought him back and barely lost by like 1/100th of a second.
Oh man!
But she had been behind. She started behind and then came back and almost got it. But anyways, so that's an update from last time on Ava.
Very cool. Good job, Avy Wavy.
And so you mentioned the Giants earlier. Let's have a little update on the Giants. How are they doing? I don't really follow it much. But.
It's so disappointing. They're 5-8 right now. And I'm like, I don't know that they ever started this bad when Gabe was in. And they bring in this dude from the Padres who used to be with the Giants apparently years ago. And I'm like, I mean, at least when we lost when Gabe was there, it gave us a reason to watch. Like, hello, Gabe. It's so hard to watch right now, because every time they go out there, they're just terrible. And most of the time, it's not them losing by a run. It's like 8-1.
It was like they played the Padres, was it? And it was like freaking 13-0 in the 3rd inning or something crazy.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And they got rid of a lot of the players, which I get it. They brought in basically like a new team for the most part, but it's so disappointing. The conversations Jerry and I have, it's just basically like us being like, I can't even watch this anymore. Like, this is terrible. Like, it's so disheartening.
You have definitely gotten him hooked on the Giants, that's for sure.
Yeah. So we watch it, but it's hard to watch. It's definitely hard to watch.
So 5-8, man. That's
5-8. I'm hoping for a turnaround. Still early.
They could have a turnaround.
Still early.
You never know.
So.
You never know. Well, hopefully they do, because I did like watching. What was it? 2010, 2012, and 2014 when they won the World Series. That was nice.
I know, and it's got to be their year. It's their 10-year anniversary. It's got to be the year that they win this.
I was on my mission when Barry Bonds played in the World Series with. They played against the Angels, and the Angels beat them. The Angels, I think so. Who did they play? It was a red
let's
team.
see. We've played.
It was a red team.
We've played Cardinals. It was the Cardinals.
Cardinals wouldn't have been the Cardinals.
Let's see. We beat the Tigers. We beat the Rangers.
Let's see. They lost to the Oakland A's in '89. I remember that. 2002, the Angels routed the Giants in Game 3, but lost Game 4. Was the Angels?
I don't remember that. What year?
02. I was on my mission. I was watching Game 7.
Oh,
06
02.
or whatever.
Yeah.
It was back in the day.
I will say though,
Yeah,
the biggest
Game 7.
disappointment.
Game
The
7,
biggest
Dusty
disappointment.
Baker.
Biggest disappointment is the Miami Marlins. I don't even follow them, but they were in the post series. They were in the series or playoffs last year.
Uh-huh.
They are now 2-8. They were 2 and something. 2-8. I think
Well,
they've won
Gabe's over
2
there.
games.
Gabe's over there. 2-11.
2-11. They were 1-10 at one point. Yeah, 2-11, and everybody's like, "What is happening?" This is like the biggest.
Well,
I can't remember the record for for a team going from the playoffs to the worst start. I think the only team that has the same record as them is
Rockies are
the
3-10.
Sox. I think the White Sox might have the same record.
Oh, 2-10. White Sox. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's pretty
The
terrible.
American League. Well,
Yeah,
at least the
I mean,
Giants,
none of that matters,
At least the
but-
Giants aren't last. At least
Truth.
the Rockies are terrible.
They're very close to being last.
Rockies.
They're 4th out of 5 in our division. The Rockies are terrible. So if we ever fall below the Rockies,
Look at the Yankees. 10-3.
Yankees weren't. But the that league that the division that the Rangers are in is pretty even.
Yeah.
I mean, the American League
7-6 to
East. That's
4-10.
the Yankees. They're pretty even. But even the NL Central's pretty even, and then you have ours where it's
Yeah,
like
but
we're just freaking
We're
awful.
literally like 12 games into like a 162 game season. So
Yeah, I know, but it's
a
still
lot
disappointing.
A lot can happen.
Nobody wants to start freaking 5-8. So awful. They better do something because you got rid of my man to have a worse start.
Well, let's
I think they just need to get rid of They need to get rid of the entire front office there, though.
The last team to start 5-8 and win the World Series.
None.
Doesn't say. I'd have to look. I'd have to dig deeper. There's no
None.
quick answer. So,
Yeah.
well, Holly, we are 39 days from Hawaii, according
Woo-hoo.
to Ava, and we have nothing ready. We don't even have luggage because we just don't travel like that. So there's a lot we got to do. I've got 250 shirts, 130 shorts, 100 hats, and a whole bunch of other things to make before then. For
Better
for
get
one
on
of
it.
One of my friends, and we're gonna have a busy 39 days. But we will see everybody next time. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. Like I just said,
Aloha. Who knows when that will be, though, with Scott.
that's true.
Aloha.
Hey, what's up, my channel? Please hit the drop a like and hit the subscribe button. Looking for my first subscriber. Can't subscribe myself. Can't do that for some reason. I don't know why. Wish you could.